Today we'll talk about the linear algebra. So in the machine learning lingo, this linear algebra is very important, and this thing we already have learned previously into the school or colleges, but the main idea behind talking about the linear algebra is to give a little bit of a recap. So why we need linear algebra and how we need linear algebra, let's see. Okay, so in machine learning we need this, as I told. So how we need this into machine learning? Okay, so suppose we have two axes here, x and y. Okay, and you see I'm not going into very much details right now, but just to intuitively we'll talk about something. So suppose you see here we have some points. Okay, just think about, there are some points over here into this axis, two-dimensional, and also here are some other points. Okay, now somebody come and tell you like, okay, how will you divide these two types of points into two sections, like they ask you to divide these two. Okay, they ask you to divide these two. So somebody come and say, okay, by drawing this straight line we divided these two types of points. One is the circle points, one is the cross points. Okay, so you see, to dividing these two we need this straight line. So you see, a straight line is nothing but something we have learned through linear algebra. Okay, so this is a 2D plane, and in the 2D plane, simply when you do the classification, okay, classification, how we are doing? By a straight line. Okay, so that's why here we see this straight line equation is from linear algebra, right? So now let's move into some different higher dimensions. Okay, suppose we have a 3D plane. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so suppose here we have x, y and z, three axes we have. Okay, so now very similarly we have two types of points over here. So this is one type of point, and another type of point might be locating here. So now I am again asking you like, okay, divide these two things. Okay, so how will you divide these two things? Okay, so very simple. So we will do here, instead of drawing a line, as it is a 3D plane, 3D space, so we will draw a plane, right? So you see, so the point is, plane, what is plane? When 3 dimension from 2 dimension larger than 2 dimension, when you go, instead of a straight line we draw a plane. So 3 dimension cases we are telling it as plane. So 2 dimensional case, what we tell it? Line. And for 3 dimensional space we told it plane. What about higher dimensions? 4D, 5D, 6D and so on so forth till ND. This thing we cannot visualize into paper, so we tell this thing as hyperplane, right? So the basic thing, the straight line equation, from where did it came? It came from the linear algebra, right? So as it came from the linear algebra, so we now understood like why should we need to recap the linear algebra. So this is the essence for the why we want to talk about this thing.